Welcome to another episode of The Star Media with Mahmoud Ahmed. Today, you're with me as your host, Sumaya Suleiman, and our topic is going to be gender inequality. And for this topic, I have invited our guest speaker, Yvoone Otieno, who is the Vice Chair in Mount Kenya University. Hi, Yvoone.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us a chance to have this discussion with you. And we are going to dive right into it. So, Yvoone, just for the sake of anyone who doesn't understand what gender inequality is, can you kindly tell us what you think gender inequality is?
Well, gender inequality itself can be self-explanatory, but it also depends with how various scholars are able to bring it forth. But to my own understanding, gender inequality is the way now we have like male and female. When there is no any maybe proper communication or the proper way of doing things between these two genders, now it becomes gender inequality when both genders are not involved in certain issues. Yeah.
Okay. And as I understand, you are a writer, right?
Yes.
So I heard that you have written a lot about gender inequality and gender imbalance. And what do you think is the main cause or the main reason that leads to gender inequality?
Well, the main, if we trace back maybe to the earlier days, what really contributes to gender inequality could be poverty as well. And then we know that in the society over the past few years or maybe ages, men have been dominating the female gender. And so, according to the societal norms, there are various things, or rather various situations that couldn't really be handled by a woman simply because she was considered maybe weak, and she couldn't do one or two things. But this depends on various cultures that we have in the society. So maybe to just put it short, you find that what happens currently, it can't really be married or compared to what was previously regarded as gender imbalance.
Okay, and as we talk about this topic of gender inequality and gender imbalance, once a woman speaks out about it, we are called feminists. So what would you define a feminist as?
Well, that has really happened, and this is one of the most, I'm being told by the producer to use my
Okay.
So I'll just be doing that. So you find that feminism is one of the most controversial or rather contemporary topics in the society currently.
Yes.
And when a woman comes out and speaks about maybe how she feels about a certain topic or how she generally feels about a certain situation, she is going to be called a feminist. So me being a writer, I define feminist in my own, and I understand that being a feminist is you standing up for yourself, not really defending the girl child, but being aware that certain things happen and how you comprehend them and how you come out and defend them. Because as a woman, you are actually, I'd say, you are actually the most vulnerable being in the world, in the entire universe as well. But if you look at these things, all of them, a woman gives birth to a boy, you see. So being a feminist is not all about coming out and making noise, but it is all about embracing and saying no to things that are not comfortable to you.
Yes. And further from the normal society setting, as let's talk about Kenya, we are from Kenya, right? And long time ago, education was not something that girls were supposed, like it wasn't important for a girl to go to school and finish and everything. And a study was done by UNICEF where a lot of girls join school at primary. The ratio of boys to girls is higher at primary school. But when it reaches secondary school, there is a less ratio of girls joining compared to boys. Why do you think that is?
Well, as I said, this situation varies from time to time, and not like only in Kenya, but we're going to base our thoughts and maybe arguments in Kenya, because in the past, yes, it is very evident that men were really recognized in the society. Therefore, even for you as a woman, if you didn't have like a male child in your boma, you know,
Yeah.
you were considered to be maybe weak, and it was very easily for your husband to marry again, so that
Although the fault is not yours.
yeah,
Biologically speaking.
Biologically speaking, you know, the
Yes.
fault is not yours.
It's not yours,
So
yeah.
that is why you find that maybe your husband could go ahead and marry another lady, hoping against hopes that he's going to get a male child.
Yeah.
Not considering the fact that this is maybe biologically, like maybe the male seeds are not as
Yes.
quick.
He is more of an X than a Y person.
Yes, and a lot of people could not find the reason why, because a lot of people were not well educated when medics, you know, as far as medicine is concerned.
The society was more illiterate.
Yeah,
as much as they went to school, culture came first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you find that in the earlier days, and this is something that it's really happening even in the current world.
Yes.
Yeah, like for example, the Borana people, you know, the Maasai girls are still married at a very young age. So we still have that notion that for a girl, you're supposed to be creating wealth for your family, because let's say for example, you're just there, you're a girl, and then there's this man who have like a lot of cows or maybe goats. You see, it's likely for you to be married, and then we have this notion also in the society that when a girl hits maybe 19, 20, 30, you are not married.
Yeah.
It's
a problem.
It's a problem. So that is something that is really, really hindering the society, and that is now why you find, if you go to secondary, you find that the number of girls is lower than the number of men.
Because most of them, yes,
yeah,
are
there is that
being
pressure.
off. Yeah. And just to add on what you've said, even right now during the pandemic period, so many girls have not been able to go back to school because they got pregnant.
Yes, very true.
And unfortunately, in our country, you can't go to school when you're pregnant. Not because the government has refused it, but because people are going to look at you differently.
Yeah, differently.
Yeah. So just to jump into my next question. In Kenya, our constitution enables the balance, the equality. And apart from what the constitution has told us, do you think that we practically do this as a country?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and it's a very interesting one as well. The government has structures and the constitution has been laid, but you find that as a country, it is upon us to practice what we say, to practice what we read as well. And as a country, honestly, I'll tell you, we are doing very bad. Because you find that when a woman stands up, even I'll give my own example.
Yes.
Initially, when I wanted to buy, and even Moha was here, like a lot of people, I was really anticipating, like, I'm going to buy, and I want to be, you know, the president, the first female president of Mount Kenya University Student Association. But then again, how people, even ladies themselves, like how people view it, you'll find that people start talking like, Nidem, atawezana. You see, so they wamekurang already.
Yeah.
Wamekurang without them trying to measure out like what can you really bring on the table. So even us and even other women, they don't really trust and believe that a woman has higher power and the leadership skills. The same way you'll find that I've been in the Mount Kenya Constitution right now in the cabinet, I'll say in the cabinet, and I've interacted with a lot of students, and some of them I try to mentor them, and I try to ask them like just a random question to see how people react, like, could you, maybe a boy, could you vie for vice president next year? And you know, I'm like, dude, for the lack of a better word, you know.
Wow.
Nicozilis are like, no, these things, it's not stated anywhere in the constitution, but people now assume and they think that for you to lead, for a woman to lead, they believe that a man has to be up there, which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing, but people need to check the situations.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you can let a man lead, but he doesn't have even leadership qualities.
Yeah.
He doesn't have eyes to see what the people need. The same way you can do to a woman, and she or he might not be really qualified for the position.
Yes.
So it's just a notion, and I think this is something that the society as Kenyans, we need to level up. I'll say we just need to level up. When a woman comes forth, she wants to vibe, let us support her. Because I also believe that the number of women are so many in Kenya.
Yes.
So if a woman decides to vie, to run for the presidential seat, and if all women support her, she's going to win.
Yeah, she is going to
She
win.
is going to win.
But we are blinded. As much as women say we support each other, we are our biggest enemies.
We are.
Because you vie, but I'm here supporting someone else because I feel he is a man, he is macho enough, and as a man he's the head and women should be the neck. Which is not a bad thing. Men are here to protect. But it doesn't mean a woman cannot step up and try to, help where she can. And I believe you're doing a good job.
Yeah, and you can also remember that the head cannot move without the neck.
Exactly. We need each other. We need each other. So what are some of the possible solutions you think we can put into place to make sure that equality is there?
Well, I think people should get more life skill education. Life skill education is something very important that should be introduced in all the learning institutions. And people need to be taught. People need to be nurtured. And when you're nurtured, you're supposed to accept and not necessarily moving with the trend, because some trends really don't make sense. But we try as a nation to mentor, especially the young generation. Because, many a times if we talk about gender imbalance, people usually think about it's only women who are disadvantaged.
Yeah.
But no, it's not only women. For instance, there's jobs descriptions that if you hear, you'll automatically think they only need a woman.
A woman.
Let's, for example, the waitress.
Yes.
And according to the research that I've done, men are better waiters.
Waiters.
Men are better waiters than women. Yes, that is the research that I've done. So you find that even if maybe they need a nurse somewhere, you automatically think it's only a woman.
It's better if the nurse is a woman.
Yeah, it's better if the nurse is a woman, which is something that we really need to try and draw out that thought, because it's not really helping. Yeah.
Okay, so Yvonne, we are almost coming to an end of this interview, and I would just love that you tell our viewers your final thoughts on this whole topic. Yeah, just wrap up in the best way you can, make them understand that.
Well, this is a good day indeed, and I'd just love to tell each and every person who's listening, who's watching this, that gender imbalance, or rather gender inequality, is one of the problems that is really affecting the nation, not only Kenya, not only Africa, but the world at large. But it's about time we sit down and try to realize the things that are really drawing us back, and also we try and also analyze people before putting them into various positions as well. And each and every person should try actually to come up with their own definition, I think, maybe about feminism, because most of the time people think that when you're a feminist, they think it's just that violent and women calling men trash.
Yes.
It's not about that. That is a notion that should be eradicated, or rather forgotten, or something like that. But at the end of the day, education is important. The government and also institutions should try and bring these people together, because I believe in the university, or maybe in college, or even in high school, that is the point a human being, or rather that age set is getting transition. So they are basically likely to get a lot of information about gender inequality, feminism, misogynist, something like that. So it's important to have education and brainstorm every time. Brainstorm. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Yvonne, for your time. Our viewers, thank you for making time to watch another episode. And my final 2 cents on this is whether you're a boy, whether you're a girl, there is nothing like gender roles. We are all human beings, and if you feel you can do something, go ahead and do it. So thank you for joining me, and want to see you in another episode. Thank you.